How do grant writers get paid? That's a good question. Do we pay them by bartering? Do we pay them with livestock? Do we pay them with salt like they used to back in the day? Or do we pay them with gold? Hey, now that may not be a bad answer right there. I want to talk to you about how do you pay them, because a lot of times I get people who come to me with that question, Rodney, how do grant writers get paid? And there are a number of ways that grant writers actually get paid. Most of them that I know actually like to get paid the same way you and I like to get paid. Check or cash. I'll even take a money order if it's good. So why is this such a big question for so many people about how do you pay a grant writer? Well, the reason that's a big question is because a lot of people think sometimes that they can pay a grant writer out of the actual grant. And the question I have for you is, would you like to be paid only after there's been a profit that's been made? Or would you like to be paid right away for the work that you actually do? Most of us like to get paid right away for the work that we do. And guess what? Grant writers are no different. So with that being the case, here's why it's such a big question that a lot of people actually have. They want to know about this because they think that sometimes you can get paid out of the grant. And when you do that, there are a whole number of issues that kind of come into play. If you haven't seen my other video that I've already done on this topic, go check that out. And it's listed as, can you pay a grant writer out of the actual grant? So I'm not going to go into that in detail here, but here's what I want to say. As it relates to paying a grant writer, different grant writers get paid differently based upon how they charge. Now, if you have a contracted or a freelance grant writer, you're going to pay them differently according to their terms. And here are some of the terms just so you can be aware of them. Some of the terms that grant writers have: one, some of them are paid by the hour. Okay, some of them choose to work by the hour. They exchange their time for $1. Okay, others work on a retainer basis, meaning that you set aside a certain amount of money each month and they go after a certain number of grants. There are some that do their grant writing on a project basis. So you may have a project for them to do a grant proposal on this specific project, and then you can hire them out for that specific project. There are others that have other methods. These that I've just shared with you are the most common ones that I've witnessed that many grant writers are using to do grant writing. Very rarely do I see grant writers that do grant writing for a percentage of the grant, because there are so many different variables and dynamics that kind of go into that, and you face some legal issues when you do that. So I want to recommend to you that as you look to have a grant writer, that you ask them these questions. How do they go about getting paid? And I would say be prepared to pay. Now, I know you may be thinking like, Rodney, but what if we don't get the grant? Well, think about it this way. In any business endeavor, there is what we call risk. And you have to take a chance, and you actually have to make a calculated decision and take a calculated risk, because when a business is there and they have a product or service, it's no guarantee that somebody's going to buy that product or service. So you make an investment into the product to sell, or you make an investment into a service, but again, it's not guaranteed. There's so many different variables that go into whether or not your organization is going to get funded. For instance, your agency has to make sure that it has a program that is a competitive program that the funder actually thinks is a good program. Let me give you another variable. Another variable that you may want to consider is the fact that you may be competing against other programs, and there may be a program that just happens to be a better fit for what the funder is looking to fund. So those are just two quick variables right there. There are many other variables, but the bottom line is that the grant writer, if they're writing the grant, putting in their time, putting their energy, putting in their trained expertise to actually put a proposal together that will put you in the best possible light to possibly get funded, you got to pay them for that time. So like I like to say, get ready to pony up, because they're bringing some value to you, and when they do so, they're putting their expertise on the line to help you get funded. So we got to compensate them. Now, go check out the other videos. That's all I got time for on this one. If you found this helpful, remember to let me know. I'd like to talk to you. If you have questions, feel free to let me know about those as well. And until we talk again, my friend, remember to be brave, be bold, and I want you to be brilliant and take charge.